This is why Israel struck the Nasser hospital located in Khan Yunis, Gaza. The history behind this whole conflict. In 1982, Israel invaded Lebanon. Their goal was to push out the Palestine Liberation Organization, which had been operating from Lebanese soil. But from that invasion, something new was born: Hezbollah. Backed by Iran, Hezbollah was not just a militia. It was a movement that declared it would fight Israel until the land was free. Lebanon, already torn by civil war, became another front line in this long struggle. Back in the Palestinian territories, anger was boiling. In 1987, ordinary Palestinians rose up in what became known as the First Intifada. It was not an organized war with armies. It was children throwing stones at tanks, strikes, protests, and daily acts of defiance. The images shocked the world. For the first time, the Palestinian struggle was not only about armies and borders, but about ordinary people demanding dignity. That uprising eventually pushed leaders to the negotiating table. In 1993, the Oslo Accords were signed. For a brief moment, there was hope. Yasser Arafat of the PLO shook hands with Israel's Yitzhak Rabin, and many believed a two-state solution was finally within reach. Gaza and parts of the West Bank were to be governed by Palestinians themselves. But hope, once again, was fragile. Extremists on both sides rejected compromise. Rabin himself was assassinated by an Israeli extremist in 1995. Oslo began to crumble. By the year 2000, despair returned, and with it came the Second Intifada. This time it was far more violent. Suicide bombings hit Israeli cities, and Israel responded with harsh military crackdowns. The cycle of fear and retaliation deepened mistrust. Walls and checkpoints spread across the West Bank. The dream of peace grew distant. Meanwhile, Gaza itself was changing. In 2005, Israel withdrew its soldiers and settlers from Gaza, but rather than ending the conflict, it created a vacuum. In the elections of 2006, Hamas, an Islamist movement that rejected Oslo, won a surprise victory. By 2007, Hamas had taken full control of Gaza, pushing out its rival, the Palestinian Authority. From that moment, Gaza became isolated under a strict blockade by Israel and Egypt. Electricity, medicine, food, even the movement of people, all tightly restricted. 2 million people trapped in a small strip of land. For Israel, Hamas was now the enemy. For many Palestinians, Hamas was the only group still resisting. The result was endless cycles of war: 2008, 2014, 2021, and again today. Each war left Gaza in ruins, with civilians paying the heaviest price. But this conflict was no longer only about Palestinians and Israelis. It became tied to the wider region. Iran declared itself the protector of Palestinian resistance. It armed Hezbollah in Lebanon, and it supported Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza. At the same time, several Arab governments began to move in the opposite direction, signing peace deals with Israel. Egypt in 1979, Jordan in 1994, and more recently, the Abraham Accords brought countries like the UAE and Bahrain closer to Israel. This left the Arab world divided. Some leaders chose diplomacy and trade with Israel, believing peace would come through cooperation. Others insisted that as long as Palestinians remained under occupation, peace was an illusion. And so today, Gaza is not only a small coastal strip, it is a symbol. It represents the wound of 1948 that never healed. It represents the failure of Oslo. It represents the division of the Arab world. And it represents the shadow war between Israel and Iran, played out through proxies in Gaza, Lebanon, and beyond.